episode of Asexualise, my asexual life. This is a place to be for education about asexuality, all things asexual, and I share my own asexual life journey in order to help you in yours. If you haven't already subscribed, please hit that great big subscribe button right here, right now. Please hit that bell icon so you get notified of every time I go live like now or post a new video. In a moment, we're going to be discussing mental health and the stigma surrounding mental health and the stigma surrounding getting therapy for your mental health. As you might know, lots of asexuals do struggle with mental health difficulties, so it's a topic that I'm going to be discussing tonight. But first of all, if you didn't know who I am, you're new to this channel, I'm Sandra Bellamy, author of this awesome Asexual Perspectives 47 Asexual Stories book, which is a great introduction to asexuality, and it shows you the asexual spectrum through the stories of the real life asexuals in the book. And also, I'm the author of Fibromyalgia Self-Help Handbook, How to Manage Fibromyalgia to Have Less Pain, More Energy and Feel Happier Like a Superhero Rock Star. So this is also a good book for mental health and helping your mental health if you've got anxiety or depression. So even if you haven't got fibro, it will really help. So yes, let's crack on with today's shows. You can type Fibromyalgia Self-Help Handbook or Asexual Perspectives in Amazon and get either of those books. So yes, going back to today's topic, mental health. Now, mental health is a topic close to my heart because I've had anxiety pretty much all my life. I was actually born into trauma. I had a forceps birth, so I was distressed in the womb, as it were, and I was pulled out by forceps. I was a distressed baby. I only found out a couple of years ago that it was 50-50 where me and my mum lived. So that was quite shocking that I didn't know that until a couple of years ago. And so I was born into trauma. So as you can imagine, that's really difficult. My mum had to have extra oxygen for me. And that was quite hard on her, as you can imagine. And I had to just come out. So I was born into trauma, which is very difficult. And I've been anxious throughout pretty much ever since I can remember, and probably that has something to do with it, you know, because if it's a case of you need more oxygen and you're struggling to live and come out, then that's really difficult, isn't it? But obviously it was really difficult for my mum as well. So I was born into trauma, so I've always kind of had that there, and then I've always had anxiety ever since I can remember. And I used to suffer with depression until 2012 when I changed my life around. In 2012, I got into personal and professional development work. I went to my first business seminar. Up until that point of 2012, I didn't like myself very much. I didn't like my life. I didn't see the point in living. I was quite suicidal prior to 2012. I used to think of kind of death and dying a lot. I used to cry a lot, and life used to be quite difficult for me. I'm not saying this for a sob story. I'm saying it because maybe some of you can relate, you know, if you've got depression yourself or had depression, I'm sure you can understand what I'm talking about, right? So back then I didn't like my life. I hated my life pretty much. I didn't really like myself that much. Didn't have self-love back in 2012. Before 2012. 2012 is when it changed. That's the actual year it changed. So I was still depressed a part of that year. But yeah, so in 2012, something shocked me, and that was actually my fibromyalgia diagnosis. And so I was diagnosed in January 2012, but they've been trying to find out what was wrong with me throughout 2011, and also in 2010 was when I actually had symptoms of swelling in my feet and stuff. I didn't know what it was, but obviously I realized in 2012 that it was fibromyalgia back then. So 2010's how it started. Now, for those of you who don't know, fibromyalgia is a chronic pain condition that affects the nerves and muscles of the body, and it's actually got through trauma. So obviously I had a forceps birth, like I said at the beginning of this video. I've had several accidents. I'm lucky to be here, really. I was knocked down by a moped 3 days before my 12th birthday. I mean, literally, I was in an ambulance. I woke up in the ambulance, but I didn't have to have one single stitch. So I guess God was looking down on me that day, you know. and treating me well, like he always does, right? I'm more spiritual than religious, but I do believe in God, especially with the amount of lives I've had. I think I'm like a cat that has 9 lives, right? So 3 days before my 12th birthday, I got knocked over by a moped. It was in the newspaper. I had a black eye and stuff. Hello. Oh, it's nice to see you, Super Ace Man, Richard. It's lovely to see lots of love. I'm doing an early stream today because my throat's a little bit sore, so I wanted to do this now. I think it's a topic that's very important as well because it affects a lot of asexuals. So I was knocked down by a moped. A lot of people don't even know that. I doubt many people knew that on my channel. 3 days before my 12th birthday, and I was literally unconscious, and so I woke up in the ambulance nearly at the hospital. And so that was a really weird time in my life, because they say that if you're going to die, you kind of know about it. If I had died then, I wouldn't have known about it. I would have just been dead, and I wouldn't have no recollection of being dead. I wouldn't have no afterlife or anything like that. So it makes me question. It did make me question afterlife and stuff. But I do believe in reincarnation and that I've been here before. So anyway, that's going off on a tangent again. But yeah, I didn't actually see the moped. What happened is I had to cross the road and to the other side to get the bus, and there was a train. I remember seeing the train. I remember the train. I remember seeing a bus with covers on it, and then that's it. The next thing I know, I'm wake up in an ambulance near the hospital. And afterwards it was weird because I saw the visor of the moped, and the blood on the floor. It was from my head, that was still there on the road. So that was really freaky. I didn't even have to have one stitch, which was a miracle. I did stay in overnight at the hospital. I have a black eye, and that was it. I was in the newspaper. So that was quite traumatic. I fell down head first down 11 stone steps as well. That's another trauma I've had. I was having moped lessons, and I went under the front wheel of a parked car. That's another accident I had. When I went to a roller disco, I damaged my ankle years ago, so that's another trauma I had. Obviously this year I broke my ankle. That's another trauma. So a lot of my life I've had a lot of trauma, and fibromyalgia you get through trauma. So you can get fibromyalgia through trauma through sexual abuse, mental abuse, physical abuse, emotional abuse, also through childbirth if you're giving birth to a child. But obviously in my case, because I had a forceps birth, it's it might be why I have fibromyalgia as well. But anyway, all these traumas add up, and they cause damage to the cells in your body for people with fibro. And so that the body remembers those accidents. Some of them, maybe my body remembers all of them, but I don't actually have recollection of all of them. But sometimes the pain comes back. I mean, I was actually hit in the head by some bed slats. I think that was actually in 2012 as well. And sometimes I get the pain of the bed slats there. I tore the tendon in that arm and the ligament in that arm 1 year. I still get pain from that. So fibro tends to remember the pain. So it's kind of a weird condition. And so, so even if I hold a kettle, it can hurt. I've injured my foot as well when I was out clubbing. I've just had it, literally a dressing on it today by my physio. He said it's going to take a few weeks to heal. A couple of weeks for the swelling to go down. So I'm like, oh my God. So he said I can use crutches again if I want, because I'm limping again. But anyway, so I've had quite a lot of trauma throughout my life. This last year's been really traumatic. If you didn't already know that I did a test for PTSD of 49 out of and 32 and above supposed to have the condition, but they won't give me official diagnosis because I'm currently still experiencing some trauma. So that's all kind of difficult, right? So, what I want to say is that mental health is just as important to look after as your physical health. And, and physical and mental health often are very closely synced together, right? If your physical health is not good, your mental health is usually not good. If your mental health is usually not good, your physical health is usually not good. So it's really important that you get both of them working right together. And so in 2012, when I was diagnosed with fibromyalgia, I mean, literally changed my life. I'm like, oh my God, I've got a disability for life. some people are on crutches or in a wheelchair permanently with it. And so I decided in 2012 that no longer was I going to talk negatively to myself and say things like I want to die and all that lot. I was just after 6 months of coming to terms with the fact I have fibromyalgia, I just decided to stop all that negative self-talk, because I knew that if I didn't, the pain in my mind that I was putting on myself would manifest itself in body pain and therefore be very debilitating. I'd end up on crutches or in a wheelchair, and that's a threat to my freedom I didn't want. And so sometimes you can get help for your mental health, and other times it's really difficult. And so I was referred to the pain management team in my city, but unfortunately they weren't very good. One said basically do breathing exercises. The other was so fixated on my anxiety rather than actually helping me with my fibro. The fact I got a disability for life, that's quite a lot on the mind. It's a lot of mental trauma, if you know what I mean. It's like, oh my God, I got a disability for life. And I've had all the traumas, mental, physical, emotional, sexual, but I'm asexual, not for sexual abuse, because I had sex after the sexual abuse. So yeah, good sex, by the way, after sexual abuse, in case you're wondering. I'm sex repulsed these days. So anyway, to get on to my main point is that mental health, like I said, is so important, just as important as physical health. And if you want to improve your physical health, people need to do exercise and sport, go to the gym, all these things to work your body, do something to make your body run more efficiently and, be in better health overall. And so a lot of people are never afraid of saying, oh yeah, I play this sport, I play that sport, I do tennis, badminton, play rugby, football, whatever it is that you like in terms of sport. I personally don't like sport. I love dancing, but I don't like sport. It bores the hell out of me, which is very weird, I know, but I'm just not into sport at all. But I did used to do some exercises for my body at home on a mat, but sometimes because of fibro, it makes the pain worse these days. So, I don't do so much of that, and I especially couldn't do it at all while my ankle was broken. So, when I went out recently, did the 5.5 hours of clubbing, that was really a lot for me. I just got to keep drinking water because my throat's sore. So people people are not afraid of saying they have workouts for their body and exercise to keep fit, but there's still a huge stigma in society about people having mental health difficulties and getting help for it, right? Now, if you've got mental health difficulties, anxiety, depression, or PTSD, or maybe you've got bipolar, you're schizophrenic, or whatever it is that you've got in terms of mental health difficulties, it's important that you do get therapy and do not be ashamed of it, right? It's the people that got mental health difficulties that don't get help for their mental health are the ones that people should be worried about, not the ones that are getting help for their mental health. Because the people that are running around in society with no help for their mental health, which are getting completely out of control and often affecting a lot of other people around them, those are the ones that are more of a danger and threat to either themselves or other people, right? So we need to stop the shame and stigma of getting therapy for your mental health. There is absolutely no shame in getting therapy. In fact, people should be getting therapy for their mental health. Did you know that coaches, I've done a live coaching course at the Coaching Academy. I'm a coach for asexuals, which is quite rare. I think I'm the only coach for it, or I was the only coach for asexuals. I've seen another one come in recently in an Indian group. But basically, as a coach, if you're a good coach, you will have had some experience of being coached by someone else. If you are a good mentor, you will have had experience of someone else mentoring you. If you're a good trainer, you will have had someone training you, right? Because we need to learn, develop, and grow skills and grow ourselves. And we can't do that if we're just stuck in our own heads all the time and not getting any help. So you should never, ever, ever be afraid to get therapy for your mental health, to improve it, to make it better again, to help it to get well. Especially with the pandemic the way it is, loads of people's mental health is not good. It's nothing to be ashamed of. What is bad is if you're having mental health problems and you say you are, some people have mental health problems that are only a threat to themselves and will only harm themselves, which isn't good. But others will harm other people around them, which is, I don't like to say it's worse, because I think harm to yourself and harm to other people is both equally bad in the sense of a love situation, like self-love or loving other people, but I think it's worse if you are affecting other people, because you know what I mean, it's only you that can control that. They can't control your behavior towards them. It's up to you to control that. And if you think all the time that everything that happens to you is other people's fault, it's not. You need to take responsibility for your own life, right? But just like people do physical workouts to get the body in shape and to keep it in shape and running effectively, you need to get help for your mental health to keep that running effectively, being well, being healthy. It's really, really important, right? So like I said, people who are good at what they do as their profession, they've usually actually had that help before. I used to be a peer trainer for the recovery learning community in my city of Exeter in the UK. I used to work for the NHS, National Health Service, for recovery learning community, and I used to help people recover from mental ill health using social media. I taught people how to blog, for example. I was paid to do this. This is an actual job I was paid to do. And the criteria to do it was I had to be was my role as a peer trainer is I had to have previous lived experience of mental health difficulties. It was actually a person who was similar, not exactly like a therapist. It was like an occupational therapist type person, but they weren't counsellors as such, but they were a bit like that type of thing. But she was the one who put me forward for it. So I had help with my work at the time because I had mental health difficulties. And at the end of when I was coming to the end of my sessions with her and my time with her, she recommended me for this job. And so I did, was paid. I started self-employed. Then I actually worked for the NHS on the bank as a peer trainer. But you had to have lived experience. They wanted at least one person to run the course that had previous lived experience. And when I've had counselling in the past, and even now, I can tell usually someone who's had previous experience of the mental health difficulty themselves and those that haven't. Because those that haven't are likely to actually cause more damage to the person, in my opinion, a lot of the time. Because I've had some counsellors that have never had anxiety in their life, I can tell, because of the stuff they're coming out with. It's highly anxiety-inducing. It made me worse sometimes. So I can tell that person's just reading out of a textbook, and which is no good. You need to learn from someone a lot of the time who's been there and done it. But having said that, it's better to get some help from a professional who's learnt the skills needed to help you with your particular mental health difficulties. But this is something that needs to stop, right? So people use, oh, you're in therapy, like it's a bad thing. And there's something severely wrong with you, so no one should go near you. That's not the case, right? People who are at the highest level, earning shed loads of money, for example, got really good status in terms of business, they get therapy because their mental health does collapse sometimes, right? It happens to the majority of people in the world. But if left unchecked, if you leave your mental health unchecked, you either become a danger to yourself in terms of your mind, saying really negative stuff to you, and putting you in a downward spiral, or you become harmful to other people. Because you might lash out at someone around you, might start shouting, be moody, all that type of thing. So it's vital that you get help for your mental health. And there is absolutely nothing wrong with seeing a therapist. Because the people that help themselves are helping others. If you want to help other people in life, you want to be kind to other people, then help yourself to get better from your mental health difficulties so you can be better for those around you, right? Like I said, it's those people that have got mental health difficulties that are not getting therapy is the ones you should worry about. They're running around loose in society with, and they're just, they're not getting help. And some of these people might be harmful to other people. And so therefore, these are people that you should be worried about, not as some people are doing, ridiculing people for therapy, right? Therapy is there for a reason. People train for years to be a therapist, right? I mean, my therapy that I'm having at the moment, trauma therapy, I'm not even having much because they say they can't treat it because I'm actually still ongoing with trauma. So I said, can you give me some coping techniques? But when I'm discussing it with her, she thinks I've already got quite a lot of coping techniques as it is, because I have been in personal professional development since 2012. I have got a basic counselling skills qualification. I did a life coaching course with the Coaching Academy. I've done some neuro-linguistic programming. You know, I've got quite a lot of and I've learned a lot about mindset and psychology over the last like 7 years. So, you know, I have already got a lot of tools, but I still believe there's stuff that I can learn that I don't know, right? Which is why I self-referred to a therapist lately for a trauma, because I feel that maybe there's some things I'm missing that I'm not quite understanding or not quite knowing. So just to understand this, there's no shame in getting therapy. People do need therapy, and therapy is meant to be therapeutic. It's meant to be healing, right? So we need to stop the stigma and shame. And if we've got a problem with our mental health, we need to raise our hands and say, hey, I need help with my mental health. Let's do this. Let's go and get some, right? Most of my friends, quite a lot of my friends I know have got, I mean, two of my best friends, they have always trying to get help for their mental health. And one of them really finds it difficult in the UK to get that, but you might have to pay privately, right? My other friend pays privately, and I've got another friend who is asexual, and they were saying it took them 7 years to get over a difficulty they had, a mental health difficulty, but they still persisted and could do it. It might have been 6 years, it might be last year they got over it. But you know, that's a long time, a very long time to have such a, you know, like an issue going on. But the main thing is these people all they try to improve themselves, they try to develop themselves, they're trying to become a better person, right? And anyone who's trying to become a better person, trying to get help for themselves, should be commended, not dragged down by people in society, not ripped and torn apart, right? They should be commended. There's so many, for example, domestic abuse, which can come in mental, physical, emotional, any type of sexual, you know. A lot of people that doing physical abuse to other people, or mental, emotional, sexual, they need help for their mental health. But those people who are usually abusers won't usually, you know, do anything about it. And if they don't, you know, they stay an abuser. The only way you can stop abusing people, I mean, being not a good person, is to actually get help to change that, right? So many people sit there going, oh, I don't know why this is happening to me. But I mean, if there's a reoccurring pattern of a problem that keeps arising again and again and again, it means there's some difficulty there that needs sorting. And as a responsible person for yourself and for others, you really should be getting some help, professional help, and trying to seek that as much as possible. And doing it, you know, like I'm always trying to improve myself, you know. I know that I've improved myself a lot from what I was years ago. But, you know, I had a relapse in terms of depressive thoughts, like in last year, 2020, on the 22nd of December, after 8 years of being depression-free, I started getting, you know, on the 22nd of December, I got suicidal thoughts. And I hate admitting that, because it's something I never ever thought I'd do again in my life. I haven't got them anymore. I don't feel like that anymore, thank God. But it was shocking to me, and that's brought on by trauma to do with the job I was actually in, which I got out. It took me a year to get out of that. I only got out of it last month, October 2021. So that was really difficult to spend a whole year. I was off sick for the majority of the time, but it made me really poorly, that job. And that's why I've had a lot of trauma in the last year. But, you know, so that's why I'm trying to get some help. But obviously, because it shocked me, that's when I first started trying to get some help. I'm like, oh my God, I'm having suicidal thoughts again. I've never thought I'd be like this in 8 years. Time to get some outside help, because I thought I had enough tools and techniques in place to never get that again. But it happened. And so shocking. I mean, I never thought I'd get, like, I never even considered I had PTSD before, but now I can see that I do. And so that's kind of like shocking in itself. But my life is getting better gradually in some ways. So that's good, you know. I feel like I'm calmer than I was because I was out of that job, and you know, that's much better for me. But you know, I've decided, like I said, to seek therapy, self-refer, because I want some help. I want some tools or techniques I don't quite know, or maybe I just need to know what I am doing right, what I'm not doing right, you know. So we need to end this stigma, you know, because the majority of people in the world have mental health problems at some point in their time, in their life. But if you got constant, oh, hi Brooke, nice to see you. But if you've got constant mental health difficulties, then you do need to get some help, you know. But in the pandemic, there's more and more people than ever that have had mental health difficulties because we're living in strange, unpredictable times where some people don't know what's going on from one day to the next, where they're in work, out of work, where they're going to the office, where they're staying at home, where they're sick, not sick, you know, where, you know, and they're having to deal with hospital visits or whatever. It's a very unsettling time for a lot of people, and it's affected a lot of people's mental health, you know, and social isolation has affected a lot of people's mental health as well. You know, social isolation is not good for people. Even introverts usually need some form of connection, some point. Not maybe some people say, no, I don't need any connection. But, you know, even if it's just like to see someone for a coffee once a week. But, you know, some people with mental health difficulties, they can't video chat or go on the phone. So they might not have had any contact with their friends for months, right? I mean, I'm an extrovert, and being indoors all the time on lockdown's not done me any good. But I broke my ankle, didn't I, back in April? So I had to like stay indoors a lot of the time for that anyway. But you know what I mean? But for me, as an extrovert asexual, that's been really bad for me, you know? Oh, you recovered well from surgery. I'm so glad. Yeah, I did see your comment. I think I left a message for you to say that's good. How am I? I've got a bit of a sore throat and I injured my foot when I went out clubbing for 5.5 hours. It was actually by my shoes though. I saw a physiotherapist today and he said it's because of my shoes. So I need to get new shoes. Apart from stun was stood on my ankle. Well, heel, not ankle. So I've got a cut there. I've got 2 nice toes that are not so good. But yes, he said it'll take a few weeks to heal, probably 2 weeks for my swelling to go down my left foot. So I've got to get some new shoes and Black Friday deal next week. So fabric ones, so they'll be more like trainer ones, but it'll be good. But yeah, my throat's a little bit sore as well today. So yes. But other than that, I'm not too bad. Thank you very much for asking. Yeah, I'm doing my stream early because my throat is like, ee. I'm like, But I know the heating was on all night last night. My housemates control the heating downstairs. So I don't know if that's made my throat a little bit ill. But yes, so getting back to the stream topic is, yeah, it's very important. Like, just like you do a physical workout, if you go to the gym, that you are. Last time I said I am asexual and my surgery helps me in that. I remember you said you're asexual last time, and previous messages you said you wanted the surgery to make you asexual, and I said you can't make yourself asexual. I remember having that conversation with you. But I'm glad the surgery went well. It's good. Really good. I'm glad you're feeling better. So, but obviously some people can be asexual and have that surgery and it makes them feel better because it helps maybe lessen the sexual urges, which some asexuals don't like feeling if they do experience arousal. So yes, so it's really important in terms of mental health to get help for mental health, because just like you have a workout at the gym for your body, you do exercise. It's good that if you've got mental health difficulties to actually exercise your brain, as it were, by getting help. So everything needs to have its help, you know, and people who help themselves are more likely to develop and grow into much more better people for themselves and for others. People who just don't do anything about it. I mean, like Brooke has taken some action, you know, which I think is good, Brooke, that you've decided I need to stop feeling this way and I want to take some action by getting surgery, which is a really good thing that you've actually taken action on what you need to do to make yourself feel better. There's so many people in the world that are saying, oh, I don't know, you know, they're just feeling sorry for themselves and they're not actually taking any action to improve their life. So I really do commend you on the fact that you are and have actually taken action to improve your life. Because that's what I'm saying in this video, that, you know, I'm saying 2 things, but still sometimes I feel arousal. I just don't know when I get rid of it. It is 17 days, but I still get arousal. There is a disorder, which is hyper arousal disorder, I think, where you literally can't help but being aroused like all the time. It's not asexual, it's a medical disorder. But I guess some asexuals might be able to get it. But obviously asexuality is if you're sexually attracted to someone. It's not if you're aroused or not. They're 2 separate things. So you can be aroused without experiencing sexual attraction. But if you experience arousal and you're sexually attracted to people, you wouldn't be asexual. But unless it's under rare or limited circumstances on the grey end of the asexual spectrum. But you know what I mean? So it just depends if you've got arousal with accompanying sexual attraction or if you've just got arousal on its own. But there is a disorder because I look at a lot of stuff, obviously, because I need to know stuff for asexuality and my Asexual Guide to Sex book that I'm writing. And, you know, hyperarousal, I think it's called. It's quite a bad condition for people to be under, actually. It's very involuntary. So that's really difficult for you and for other people that have that, if you've got that, which it sounds like you have. But obviously I'm not a medical doctor or expert, so I can't say for sure. Just maybe an idea. I don't know if you've been tested for that, or had it. I don't know if there is a test for that. But you know, but I think it's good that you've taken some action, because, you know, people can go all their life saying that they're going to do something they never do. But I have to say there is another element to this, and this is helping yourself. Like, I've had a lot of therapy, particularly in the past, more like this therapy this year is the first time I've had therapy since 2014, which was the last time I had it, where I found out I was asexual. So we're in 2021 when I'm recording this live. So I haven't had any therapy for like 7 years. So you know, so that's quite a long time. From 2014 to 2021 is like literally, I haven't had therapy for that time, because I've been managing on my own a lot of my mental health difficulties I previously had. I thought I'd sorted that out, a lot of them, because, you know, personal and professional development, like I said, I got into. You learn a lot about mindset, psychology, about different techniques to have a positive mindset, to live a more positive life, to develop and grow yourself into a better person, to bring more self-awareness. And that's a key, right? The key to your mental health difficulties a lot of the time is being very self-aware. So being self-aware of what your thoughts are, your feelings, your emotions, your actions towards others, your reactions towards others, realizing and understanding that we're responsible for our own lives, no one else, at the end of the day. Like, you can have as much therapy as you want, but unless you fundamentally make changes to your life yourself, nothing will change. Because at the end of the day, we have to take care of ourselves. There'll be times in life when there's no therapist there, there's no friends there, there's no one but yourself. And if you can't learn to grow and manage and love yourself and develop yourself by yourself, then it's not going to be good for you. So in this life, we need to work on our own self-awareness, getting to know ourselves, sitting and spending time with ourselves, journaling, reflecting. Like, what type of person am I actually? How do I interact with other people? How do I communicate with other people? What can I do better? How can I improve my listening techniques? Like, I know I've improved my listening techniques. Agreed, there should not be stigma about mental health. Thank you, Gregory. Lots of love. Nice to see you. So I can't even remember what I was saying now. I said something. I was about to say something. I can't remember. But yes, I can't remember. It's live. I hate it when thoughts go out of my head when it's live. But I was trying to say something really important as well about mental health. It's probably going to come to me like in 30 minutes when I've finished the stream. But I'm glad you agree that mental health is really important. I was talking about helping yourself. That's right. And it'll be about being self-aware. But there should be stigma about creepy. So yeah. So yeah, it's really important that that we in life, you know, that we help ourselves to get the help we need, and that, you know, that we understand ourselves greatly, and that we can reflect on how we are with other people, the communication we have with other people. And yeah, I've blocked Gregory Brooke because Gregory's just being horrible and nasty. So yeah, I've blocked them. So thank you, Brooke, for that. You know, they're just being rude to me. There's no need for it. There's absolutely no need, and they really need to get some help if they're going around being nasty to people like that. It's totally uncalled for, right? I'm a really gorgeous, beautiful, kind, loving girl, and it's up to me how I live my life and who I date and be in a relationship with. No one else's life. So yeah, it's just being rude. Just being rude. So yeah. Anyway, I'm not gonna let that. I'm gonna carry on. Exactly, who is old here? Because like, old is like people live to be 100+ these days. You know what I mean? I doubt someone who's old could go out clubbing for 5.5 hours like I did the other day. But there you go. So yeah. Anyway, lots of love to all the old people out there, or older people out there. There's nothing wrong with you. Live your life and enjoy it how you see fit. So yeah, when I was talking about mental health, then it's really important, you know, that we get help, and so that we don't harm ourselves or harm other people. And you know, if you're a person, you're only as old as you feel. Thank you, Richard. Exactly. You know, exactly, you know. So unfortunately, some people have decided to not be so nice to me because I like younger guys. I'm an older woman liking younger guys. But there's nothing wrong with that. It's perfectly healthy for some relationships to be that way. Age is just a number. Exactly, Brooke, you know? Exactly. I know a lot of age gap relationships where people are very successful, loving, caring, committed age gap relationships. Like one of the people I know, well, he's an entrepreneur guy. He's 21 and his partner is 41, and they've got a really successful business and hundreds of thousands of pounds online. I'm in their group. I've taken their course. I mean, they met when I think he was, well, they've been together for a couple of years, so he must have only been like 19 when they met. And they are super successful. They got a beautiful home, nice doggy. They earn hundreds of thousands of pounds online, and they're always having their photographs snapped together. They're a beautiful couple, absolutely gorgeous, you know. And so there's a 20-year age gap between them two, but it's a very healthy, loving, caring, committed relationship, you know. And only the people who are in a relationship should ever define a relationship. No one else. It's no one else's business. And if people want to control other people and tell them how to live their life and who to date and not to date and what age group to date and not to date, they've got a problem because they're a control freak and they need to get help. Stop trying to control people, you know? It's ridiculous. I won't be controlled by anyone, and certainly not people who come on my channel telling me what to do. You know, it's absolutely ludicrous, you know? So they can say what they like, but I'm still going to love younger guys, and if I want to be with a young guy in his 20s, I'll be with a young guy in his 20s. Thanks very much. You know? At the moment, I'm happy being single. Thanks very much. So, you know, I'm enjoying my single life. My really nice single life. So, yeah. And, oh, yeah, I'm really pleased to say that on meetup.com, there was a social 20s group that I joined, but I spoke to the organizer and let him know that I wasn't actually 20 in birth certificate, you know, in my 20s and birth certificate age. But my mindset and lifestyles like that, and my soul's basically like 21-year-old, right? So I let him know, and then he decided that it would, because I told him, because I like to be honest, and then to see if I could come to the actual meetup, and he declined, which was fine. I said that, you know, like in a public post that he kindly declined me, and that's, you know, that's okay. Are you from London? No, Brooke, I'm not from London. I'm 3.5 hours away on the train from London. But I love London though. But I am in the UK, yeah. And so anyway, I was declined to go to that particular meetup in the 20s social. Actually, I found out that guy created it, because he wasn't actually such a good guy, and he'd gone from other groups and created one on his own because he'd upset some people. So actually, yeah. But anyway, that's that. Anyway, so I joined that group, and I was honest and said about my birth certificate age is I have a 21 mindset. You know, I haven't really got anything in common with the other group I'm in, which is for older people. So I'm in a group 30s to 40s, and it's really a bit too old for me. You know, I've only been once, and I'm just like, oh my god, it's just really not who I am. I haven't really got anything in common with them or interest. The music's quite old. So yeah. So you know, it's you know, it's just it's just, you know, so yeah. So anyway, so although I didn't get to go to the 20 social group, it's good that I didn't, because someone saw my message in there, public message to them saying, you know, I'm out the birth certificate age range. And so these other people saw me from the 20s to 30s group, and they said, oh, please join us. You know, there's about 10 of us. So that's how I went and met them, because they didn't care about age. And anyway, yeah, I got on really well with them. It was like 22-year-old upwards to most of the people I talked to. So so they had no problem. They actually asked me to go with them. A couple of them sent me a message, and I knew one of the guys because I used to work with him years ago. So, well, work in the same place as him. So it's really good. So I went out, had some food and drinks, and then I was really young though. I was much younger than the guys in their 20s because they were like talking to me about films and stuff. We were talking about films. And I'm like, I did tell you I'm young, so I'm like, they're saying, oh, I love superhero movies, and I love animation, and I love superhero movies, I love animation, and you know, I love action movies, and I go to kids club and stuff like that because I am the kid, and you know, it was just like amazing, you know. So I just thought it was incredible, and you know, I had a really nice time. And then I went out and you know, then I went and was going to say, yeah, then I went out clubbing with some of them. Well, with all of them, but they didn't last very long. They all left by about 2 o'clock, and then I was there till 4:30 a.m., you know. So I was just like, wow, this is amazing and incredible. And I really, you know, loved it, every minute of it. And so anyway, they said, oh, you can join our group, like on Meetup, like 20 to 30s group. So I spoke to the organizer and sent a message. She goes, yeah, we're cool about age. Like people who are in the group, 20s to 30s group, we've got people that is younger than their 20s that's joined the group, and older. So what kind of movies do you like? Action, romantic? Yeah, I like so I like kids movies, like the animation, like Pixar and Disney movies, you know, like Shrek and Secret Life of Pets. I do a lot of no sex movie reviews on this channel. Secret Life of Pets, you know, Secret Life of Pets, what else? Secret Life of Pets 2. I like superhero movies, I like robotic movies, so I like the Avengers movies, I like Thor, I like Iron Man. Iron Man's my favourite. I love Spider-Man. And what else do I like? I like all the step-up movies, so I love dance movies as well. All them are really good. Do I live alone? I live in my own place on my own, but I live in the middle of a house. So I live actually in a house with 3 guys, but they've all got their own. I've got my own separate flat, so I'm very safe here. Especially because the 2 of the guys have moved in recently, and one of the guys built pretty big, so I feel very safe here, because if anyone came to the house, I'm sure they'd run a mile if they if I needed to get him to help me with anything, you know. So I feel quite. So there was me and 2 other females and a guy upstairs, and then the 2 females moved out, and one of them, their dad moved in, and the dad's really nice to get on well with the dad. They treat me like, I mean, with my family. No, I don't live with my family. I've only got my parents because I'm an only child. They live somewhere else, about half an hour away from me. So yeah, so no, I don't live with my parents. But my family's myself. I was living with my guinea pigs, but one of my guinea pigs has gone to my parents to live. So yeah. She went there 2.5 years ago, back in April 2018. So yeah, because she had diabetes. But she's recovered from that in January this year. So she's a recovered diabetic after 2.5 years, which is amazing. So yeah, so like my bedroom, as you probably see, is very young. You know, I've got a lot of like I've got a lot of like Pusheen, and I've got a lot of cuddly toys and CDs and like hearts. If you've seen the hearts on the wall and stuff like that. So yeah, I've got a lot of young stuff. Like so cool. Thank you, Brooke. Yeah, there was a guy who I had a video date with on Facebook dating. I'm not on Facebook dating at the moment anymore. But when I had this date with him, he was a guy in his 20s, actually, in London, I think he lived, and I think he was 26, but I can't remember. I'm glad you still have parents. Yeah, I'm very fortunate. I love my parents to bits. Very lucky. Yeah, I totally agree with you there. And so yeah, so what was I saying? I can't remember what I was saying now, but I was saying about you know, the fact, yeah, I like a lot of young stuff. And so when I went to the meetup on meetup.com, when I went to this meetup the other day, I was saying all the films I like, and I was younger than they liked, which was really amusing. And the fact that I was out till 4:30 clubbing for 5.5 hours, the fact, you know, it was just like, you know, amazing. It's absolutely amazing. So, you know, to be out clubbing for 5.5 hours, like all the people that were younger in birth certificate age than me, they couldn't even last, like I said, past like 2 a.m. I think it was. But I was out like, you know, for a long time, and it felt so good. But I have injured my foot because of the shoes I was wearing, like I said. But yeah, like so so that was what I was going to say. Yeah, for this guy on Facebook dating that I was talking to, we had a video date, and he was like, "Can you show me your room again, please? Can you just put the camera up?" He was like looking like this, and I think he thought that I think it's all Gregory as well. They're just creating more and more profiles, but actually Google's stepping in, Google moderator, without me doing anything a lot of the time, because obviously they're just giving me abuse on my channel, and Google team is stepping in and actually deleting some of their messages without me even doing anything, because Google won't stand for abuse, you know. And the person who's doing that is the one that should, you know, get some help, because there's no need to abuse me. I have done nothing wrong. You know, there's no problem with an older girl liking younger guys whatsoever. You know, legal age guys in their 20s. You know, it's not like they're kids. They can make their own mind up. You know what I mean? And I'm not going to be bullied and harassed, you know, into doing what someone wants me to do, because that's just someone who's controlling and severely mentally ill, and they need to get some help. But you know, they probably won't think that there's anything wrong with them. But you know, harassing me like this is not particularly pleasant. But hey ho, I'm going to carry on anyway, because you know, this channel's for asexual, so I don't want it to be a channel for other people. So yeah. Anyway, so going back to what I was talking about. Anyway, this guy had this date with me, and you know, literally, you know, it's just like he was looking at my room, wanting me to show him my room, because he expected it to be a certain way because of my birth certificate age. But you know, but you can live whatever age you want to live. You don't have to be the age on your piece of paper of birth certificate age, right? You can act how you want to act, be who you want to be, wear what you want to wear, go where you want to go, live your life on your own terms. You don't have to be dictated to by anyone, or told how to live your life, or do what society or people in society think you should do. You can just be yourself, you know? It's like, I'm asexual. I have no interest in having sex at all, you know? How do you talk continuously by seeing camera, no person in there? Because I've trained myself that way. So thank you for your question. So basically, I was a radio presenter, a voluntary radio presenter. I got into that when I was 15 years old. So when I was 15, I went to my first ever live radio station and did some work experience there. And I really, really loved it. And from that moment on, I knew I wanted to be in the, well, I knew I had some sort of life purpose, that I was going to be in the media. So, you know, yeah, I used to, exactly. Thank you, Brooke. Yeah, I used to do voluntary radio present. So first of all, I went to a radio station when I was 15 years old, a commercial radio station, and then I decided to get some more work experience in it. So I became a volunteer hospital radio presenter, like assistant. I've done PRS work, which is Public Rights Society work. It's where you actually go into a radio station, you time the presenter, you get paid to do that. So I've actually got checked. I remember taking a photograph of my first ever check, so I got paid for some radio work, you know. So I was so excited about that. So I did that. And I've actually done experience at BBC Radio Devon. I've done a whole week's work experience there. That's in the UK. I've done, you know, behind the scenes, I've been in different radio stations as well. You know, I've done some work experience in newspapers and stuff like that as well, because I always had a vested interest in media. I did media studies at college. And obviously doing this show now is fabulous because it's like in the media, you know. And so yeah, and so I've also done speaking course. I've done a speaking course. Andy Harrington, a public speaking course. What do you do for daily living? So at the moment I just write my books that change lives, you know. So I was a shop manager, a retail shop manager, in my last job, but it made me really poorly, because I had a lot of things happening there that I can't talk about publicly at the moment, or maybe never. But anyway, it made me really stressed and poorly, and so I left. As you are single, yeah, so I support myself, but I've got disability, because I've got some disabilities. I've just got I'm on benefits now since last month. Well, I had them before, sickness benefits, because I was just on a statutory sick pay, and I started getting a bit of benefits in the UK, and then they finally recognised my disability, or disabilities I should say. So basically, yeah, so I'm single. I've supported myself for years. I've actually lived on my own for 17 years, 7 years. So I've completely supported myself over that time. You know, sometimes I've been in work, sometimes I haven't. I've done a lot of, like, over the 17 years of supporting myself, I've been in retail for 19 years, because I you know, in my last long-term relationship, I didn't live with the guy. So yeah, I've done a lot with my life. Yeah. So, but I'm too young for this stuff. Too young for all this. But yeah, I support myself for years. But yes, so I am actually on benefits now. Like, I've just got my disability finally recognised the day after I left my day job last month. I actually got from Universal Credits a benefit in the UK, and there's a disability like part of it, and I got given that part, which is incredible, which I'm really grateful for, because I've had my fibromyalgia disability now since 2012, and it's never been recognised at any benefits whatsoever. So I was working from 2012 to 2017 for 5 years, after I was diagnosed with fibromyalgia, and then I was made redundant for 3 years. So I was made redundant. So basically, redundancy in the UK is different to the USA. So in USA, it basically means you got fired. In the UK, it's different. You get laid off, which means that because there's no longer any work for you. So basically, they changed the hours from full-time to 16 hours, and I couldn't live on that, so I took redundancy payment. So I was on benefits, like job-seeking benefits, for like 3 years, and doing my books, like helping asexuals. Most of the stuff I do is just helping asexual. I run 6 asexual groups. I've been working on my latest the book for asexuals I've currently got. I've been working on since June 2019. And obviously I do my blog, and you know, I just mostly, but a lot of the stuff I do for asexuals I do for free. I do charge a little bit for some stuff. Like I've got a coaching club on Facebook that has very few members, but all that type of stuff, just the money from that just goes back into web hosting, and you know, just goes into web hosting, and you know, back into like paying. So for example, when I published my book that I've been working on since current book I've been working on since June 2019, you know, when I publish that, I have to pay a typesetter to typeset the interior. I can do the ebook myself, but all the printed version I need to typeset, I need to pay for. the cover to be done, the printed version particularly. I've done in the past the ebook, and then I've got someone to do the printed version, then they give me the ebook version back of my own design basically. So I got to do all that, you know. And web hosting, internet, I have to get, you know, like I'm on a really high internet fiber optic package, whereas I wasn't before, but because my internet wasn't as good, then I had to upgrade it so I could do these streams and stuff. So any money that I make from like my books or my club just goes back into helping asexual, so I don't really make any profit off that. So I was doing a full-time manager's job, a retail store manager. I've been a retail manager before. I've been a retail manager in a couple of jobs, actually in 3 jobs. So a total of 7 years I've been management before. So yeah, and then with last year, basically 8 years, but I wasn't there for a lot of last year because I took off sick. So now, yeah, I've literally got my disabilities finally recognised with some help at the moment. So I'm technically self-employed though, obviously, because I do writing books. I just want to write more and more books about asexuals. I'm finishing my second one. I've got like another 3 lined up in my 1, 2, 3 lined up. Yeah, I've got 3 lined up. So, but I also want to write other books as well, because I've got other books I want to do. Obviously asexuals are kind of my number one all the time, but I do have to do some short books. I want to do some short books as well, because my books I do, it takes me like 1, 2, 2.5 years, maybe 3 even, to do them, you know. I've been spending like 2.5 years. I meant to have finished the book I'm currently working on like ages ago this year, but it, you know, with the thing going on at work and the stress and all that type of stuff, you know, it just didn't, you know, it just didn't happen. It wasn't good, so I've left there now. But yeah, I'm a lot happier. Yeah, so yeah, I live on my own, but in a self-contained accommodation, but in a house with 3 guys, and they're all really nice. Like the guy who moved in, he's got a couple of sons, like children. I'm not interested in them, obviously, but they're nice. I get on well with them as like people. And like he you know, like he invites me, you know, like in his kitchen to talk to him and his kids, family. They treat me like I'm part of their family, you know, which is really sweet. So yeah, I've been really blessed to have those people move in, really, particularly the one that's got the kids, because they're very friendly, you know, chatty and stuff like that. So that's really good. And I've got I like it here because I've got my own space and security, whilst also having guys particularly around me, you know. So if I got any problems, sort them out, no doubt, for me, you know. So I'm very protected here in that respect, and I love it, you know, because it's like, yes, I live on my own, but I also live in the middle of a house full of guys. So yeah, but the two of the guys, they live in the main part of the house, and there's a guy's got his own self-contained flat upstairs, so I have to walk through the hallway to get up to my flat, and I'm used to doing that. To anyone else it might seem weird, you go through someone else's house to get to your own flat, basically. But for me, it's just the perfect solution, you know, because I like being I don't like sharing my space with anyone. Even I prefer to like live on my own, and be on my own. And, you know, and even in a relationship, I prefer to live separately. Like when I was in my last long-term relationship, I lived separately. I think if you've got mental health difficulties as well, it can actually be better to live on your own, I personally find, you know, because it's like I can take care of my mental health much better when I've just got me to worry about. That's why I love being single as well, because, you know, when I'm single, there's only me to think about, worry about, care about, and that. Obviously I care about my friends as well, but it's just me to think about, you know, and I don't have to worry or care what anyone else thinks or does or says. I can just get on with my own life and do my own thing, which I really love, that freedom. There's a lot of benefits to being single, actually, which I'm currently preferring. So I'm not on any, I have been on, I mean, I'm still on the dating sites I was originally on that I never got rid of, but I'm not back on Facebook dating. And the other ones I'm not active on anyway. There's one I went on a long time ago. I think I mentioned it on this channel, Mingle 2. Oh my God. Someone said to me once, why are you on this site? It's a hookup site. And because I don't like sex, obviously. And they saw that in my profile. I'm like, well, instead of mingle2.com, it should be called hookup2.com then, shouldn't it? But yeah, so I did take a few messages recently of there. because there's old messages there, because I haven't been on for like over a month, because obviously I was dating someone at the time, so I wasn't going around doing that with other people. So, you know, I was, you know, not even, so I was off there for about a month. But yeah, I've just gone back and checked some messages. But, you know, I'm really not looking for a relationship anymore at the moment. I'm just looking for friends, which is why I wanted to get out and socialise more with people my own mindset and lifestyle age and common interest age, you know. All above board, like I said, because I talk to the organiser and tell them about that. So you know, so yeah, I really, you know, I think in terms of mental health at the moment, it's just a case of me getting back to being myself, true authentic self, which is the clubbing, you know, being my teenager self that I love to be, being around people who understand me and similar mindsets, lifestyle and that. So yeah, getting out with people more in my mindset and lifestyle and interest age, which I've just, you know, like the email I had back from a guy who runs the 20s and 30s group was just amazing. It said, oh, we're, you know, we've had people younger than 20s come in the group or older than 30s come in this group, and we're all about, you know, just having people in the group that have a similar mindset and interests, which is what I have, you know, because when I went out with about 10 of them on Friday, so, you know, it was just lovely. But I was a lot younger than them, like I said, because I like animation and superhero movies and stuff like that. It's kind of like, they're like, oh. And it's like, I like really young movies, you know, and I'm always doing no sex movie reviews on this channel. So, you know, it's really, really important that, you know, that you be your true authentic self in life. I think when you connect with your soul and you be who you're born to be, and, you know, and you live your life your way, I think you become much more happier. You know, I think it's when society and people in society seem to be obsessed with telling you how to live your life and conforming to their robotic ways, and, you know, it's just ridiculous, and no one should be put in a box, because we're all beautiful, we're all individual, we've all got our own quirks and nuances, and that's to be celebrated, not something to be put down or belittled or, you know, to be ashamed of. It's something to be really proud of, you know, really proud that you know, that you are who you are, you're individual, you're gorgeous, and you're just you know. And I think that's the important thing in life, you know. There's no point in being someone you're not just to please other people, because that's not living your true authentic self life. It's just living in the shadow of other people and being a fraction of who you can possibly be. You know, there'll always be haters in the world, sadly, because they've got nothing better to do their time, clearly. And it's quite amusing that they say, oh, stop being obsessed, when they're clearly obsessed with me, because this is like, what, they were here 2 days ago, now they're back again. They're so obsessed with me, and they can't let it drop, can they? So yeah, very ironic, really. But, you know, it's no shame in you know, if you've got mental health difficulties, there's no shame in getting therapy for mental health difficulties. Like I said, it's the people that get therapy that are actually the people that are the good people trying to improve their life, usually, and help themselves to be a better person for themselves and for other people. They're the ones that it's good. But the people that are in society that clearly need help for their mental health that aren't getting any, they're the ones that we need to worry about, because they're basically roaming free, causing havoc and mayhem, and being, you know, horrible and vindictive to people, as the case might be. So those are the ones that we kind of need to watch and be mindful of in life, whilst not letting them overtake and rule our life. Because at the end of the day, we need to be free to be ourselves and to love and care about ourselves for who we are, you know. And it's like, I like younger guys, but like, there's loads of women out there that like sex with younger guys. There's loads of younger guys that like sex with older women. But I'm not even interested in having sex with younger guys, because I'm asexual, you know. I lack sexual attraction. I don't get the need, urge, or want for partner sexual intercourse. There's so many, like on Facebook dating, it's full of younger guys that want an older woman, but they want to have secret sex with them. And it's like, you know, I'm not interested in that. I mean, it's literally full of even 19-year-olds on there wanting sex with older women. You know, there's nothing innocent about guys who are in their 20s. The majority of them want sex, and they like it with an older woman. I'm actually in a group in Facebook Facebook dating, which is younger guys dating older women. I think it's about 350 people in there. But the guys are just after sex. So it's like, I observe what they write, but it's like, I haven't been involved in it yet, because it's like, I'm not interested in sex, you know? So the majority of the time, it seems younger guys are just constantly using older girls for sex. The majority of the time. I mean, obviously there is some actual dating sites where older women date younger guys specifically as well. So, but you know, it's like, I don't need to go to one of those sites. I can easily get a younger guy if I want in a club or something. But you know, as I'm asexual, it's not really gonna happen, I don't think, because I lack sexual attraction. I don't want to have sex. I'm just not interested in it. If I like younger guys, it would be to kiss them, cuddle them, hold them, and you know, talk intelligently to them, share life experiences. There's good dynamics that happen between age gaps, actually, because you can both bring something different to the table. The older person's usually got the experience and kind of wisdom and stuff, and the younger person's got like a different different kind of mindset and attitude sometimes, or different experience. They can both bring really good stuff to the table. So it's quite a good combination, I think. And you know, there's absolutely nothing wrong with older women liking younger guys. You know, there's a lot of women in the media that like, you know, the older women now with younger guys. And I think, you know, that stigma should be broken as well. Why should it just be that older guys are with younger girls? There's tons of older guys with younger girls, and they get praised for it. Good on you, mate. Oh, look who you've pulled. Oh, that's so good. And their mates all want a younger girl then as well, you know? So it's kind of like, you know, there should be no stigma around mental health and getting therapy for your mental health. And there should be no stigma around older girls wanting to be in a relationship or date younger guys. You know, the world is a beautiful, diverse place made up of beautiful, diverse people and diverse couples. And, you know, some really successful ones. And you know, like, I'm really young, like a lot of the time I'm younger than guys in their 20s. Like, there was one guy on ASAP a long time ago, Asexual dating app, and he was 25, and he was saying, man, if you were sexual it'd be great because my friends would love you, but you're just too energetic for me. And so he was saying he wished I was heterosexual because his friends would like to date me or would be in a relationship with me, but for him, I'm too energetic. So it was like quite funny. But yeah, so that was interesting conversation. But yeah, often I'm more energetic than the younger guy, and he's having to go to sleep early to get his sleeping, not beauty sleep. But yeah, like I said, I'm happy being single at the moment, and I think mental health wise it's good for me to be single, considering, you know, what I've just been through. With being stalked and stuff, which is not nice. You know, and obviously, you know, and then yeah, and stuff to do with work, and obviously I split with that guy in June as well, who was in his 30s actually, not 20s. You know, so that was kind of hard, but I did that, blocked him as well. So, you know, I think it's better I be single because I like my single life. And I think sometimes for mental health, sometimes you do need to be single for a while. I think you need to kind of like take a step back and think, right, okay, so now I need to be single and free for a while and live life on my own terms and not get involved in relationships or dating scenarios unless I want to. And, you know, I just want to make more friends, really. You know, and carry on career-wise and carry on helping asexuals, you know. And I think sometimes it's good, like if you've got obviously in a loving, caring, committed relationship, sometimes it can be really good for your mental health, because if you've got a really good, healthy person to be in a relationship with, then they can literally, you know, you support each other and through ups and downs, and you can help each other with mental health. But even so, you still need to get help for your own mental health as well, and not rely on the other person to fix you. It's not someone else's job to fix you and solve your problems in life. It's up to you to fix and help yourself and solve your problems. And obviously, if you don't think you have a problem, then you're not going to get help for it, because you don't think there's a problem there in the first place. So it's really important that you assess if you need help with your mental health, and if you do, go and get some help, go and get some therapy. You know, it's only, you know, like some therapists are good and some are bad. I've had both good and bad. You know, but also like I've learned a lot through personal and professional development, so I'd always recommend getting into that as well. But become self-aware and reflect and stuff like that. So it's really important, you know, and you know, there's no shame in having mental health difficulties and getting help for it. It's really, really essential. Anyway, I think we've come to the conclusion of this stream right now, but I just want to say, if you are having mental health difficulties, I do understand you, and I hope you get the help you need. I know in the UK at the moment, certainly the mental health services are like swamped with people needing their help, and it's very hard to get mental health services. You know, there's one of my friends really needs some help, and they're finding it really difficult. So you know, try obviously to help yourself as much as possible. If you can afford private therapy, try and find a good one for you that you relate to, that can help you. Obviously there's Samaritans if you're in the UK. There's probably other crisis numbers if you're living in the world, if you feel really suicidal or depressed. You know, it's always good to get some help like that. You know, it's something that, you know, some people do feel suicidal and it's not a good thing, so you need to get some help for that. You know, when I had a bad time last year in December, I literally journaled my way out of the suicidal thoughts. Like I told you, I hadn't had them for like 8 years, so I got a journal. I just literally journaled my way out of it, and I had a friend at the time who was messaging me as well after that, so that was nice of them. In terms of mental health as well, like don't forget to do things like connect with other people. Like one of the ways to well-being, 5 ways to well-being, is to stay connected. You know, so it's basically to connect with others, to keep active as well. You know, and just like just make sure you practice self-love and things like you're grateful for, and create a happy list if you haven't done that already, because that can really help your mental health. So that's like writing a list down of 10 things that make you happy, and then you go and do those things basically, as many as possible each day. And like happiness is something that you're not given, that you have to create within yourself, and a lot of people don't understand that. They look for other people to make them happy. Of course, if you're in a relationship, then the other person should be making you happy the majority of the time. You know, you should have more happy times with them than down times. You should feel good, you know, when you talk to them. You should feel positive. They should be lifting your spirits up, you know, lifting you up, making you feel great, having a wonderful time with them, having a great experience. But nothing's going to be perfect, right? So it's all about fostering healthy communication, teamwork, respecting the other person, respecting their boundaries and their standards, and respecting that person for who they are. You know, but and hopefully you get someone who's understanding about your mental health. You know, not someone, if someone starts putting you down and stuff, you've already got mental health problems, that's going to make things worse, right? So you need to like be finding someone who's supportive. But you know, like it's good to talk to friends. Like some people think, oh, I've got to keep all my problems to myself, and that's not healthy, because if you keep all your problems to yourself and you don't actually talk to your friends or other people about it, if you can't talk to your friends, if it's too much for them to handle, then talk to a therapist, you know. Because if you keep it all bottled inside and suppress it, usually it explodes later on in your life, or comes out in other ways that is not good or healthy. So it's really important to get that out in a very good way. You know, like I said, journaling is a really important thing to do. Writing down in a diary or writing down in a journal, and just literally getting your thoughts, feelings, emotions out, because it can be kind of hard to process them, you know. And you might find your emotions are up and down, particularly if you've had a lot of trauma or difficulties recently, or even in past months, or even maybe years ago, you know. And crying is actually a good thing. Like people, there's a huge stigma around crying, but crying allows the negative emotions to come out of you and free and declutter your innards, if you know what I mean. So crying is very healthy to release built up emotions, release built up stressors, release built up negative feelings, and because if you suppress them, it just, like I said, it's not very healthy later on. And so it's really important to keep a check on that, like talk to friends and family if they understand. Obviously, if all you're talking about, if you're depressed and all you're talking about is depressive stuff all the time, you're going to lose friends, because no one wants to hear about you being depressed all the time, 24/7, 365 days a year, because you'll make another person depressed. You'll rub off on them. So you need to get a balance of telling people your problems, your friends and your problems and difficulties, but also making sure that you say some more lighthearted stuff, and you say some other stuff about what's happening in your life, even if it's like you played some video games, you listened to some music, you watched some movies, whatever it was, excuse me, so that you keep the conversation like a bit positive, because if if all you do is talk about yourself and be negative all the time, it's not a good thing. So, and also, like I was saying earlier, that I know I've improved myself on listening skills, for example. So when I was at a meetup the other day, the guy who was sat next to me, the first guy to the right of me, I was speaking to him, and he's doing an access course at the college in my city, and he's studying mathematics and physics. And then after that, he's going to go on and do something else. He's originally from London. And so I remembered all that, and I recited it all back to him. He's like, wow, you've got really good memory. And I'm like, well, not all the time, I don't. But, the point is, my listening skills have improved greatly, because I was able to recite back exactly what he said to me. And so if you're having problems with listening skills, because obviously I talk a lot, so people think, oh, she talks a lot, but how is she good at listening? But I've improved on listening. And yeah, so if you listen to a person and they say stuff to you and you can recite back what they said to you, then that is a really good thing. It means you've done active listening. So there's active listening and there's passive listening. Active listening is when you're engrossed and engaged in what the person's saying. You're usually looking at them in the eyes or the face, and you are taking in their information, and then you're relaying it back to them, and to see if you've understood what they're saying or listened and heard what they've said. So that is so important to do that. Active listening is also like putting your mobile phone down, switching it off, put it on silent, giving that person your undivided time and attention, that type of thing. So it's really important that you do that, and for mental health, again, some people find meditation good. I'm not into meditation. I prefer dancing around my room to dance music. I like Latin music, Spanish, reggaeton, all that type of music. So that makes me really happy. So you've got to really do what brings you joy and happiness in your life. The way to counteract a lot of mental health difficulties, which are negative emotions, negative thoughts, negative feelings, is to actually go and do the opposite. Do things that bring you joy, bring you happiness, make you feel good about yourself, make you feel special, make you feel loved, make you feel like happy, elated, excited, all these positive emotions. And so that's how you counteract a lot of the negative emotions that come with, depression or anxiety. If you've got anxiety, the best thing to do is little by little face the thing you're fearful of as much as you possibly can, and do go through those fears. Obviously some things are just going to be too probably fearful before you've got phobias and stuff, but some people can overcome their phobias. But it's all about making progress, and some people got anxiety, it might be they progress in their life and do something that some other people might find really easy. So some people's success and progress in life, it's another person's ease. It's like they do that thing every day. But to that person, it's really important. So some people are depressed, they can't get out of bed. And so even if they got up that day and got dressed, or say they got up 3 days in a row and got dressed and got out of bed, that would be success to them, that would be an improvement to their mental health. They've actually made, they've actually got up and got out of bed. Maybe they have a shower and they haven't showered before, it depends how bad the person's mental health is. So you have to understand that success and progress is down to the individual and what it means to them. I years ago couldn't do video editing, for example. It took me 6 months to learn iMovie, one-to-one tuition video editing, because I learned slowly, but once I've grasped something, I really understand it. But I wanted to learn it so that if I wanted to do any videos for YouTube, I want to do edited rather than live like this, I can do it. And so, yeah, 6 months of one-to-one tuition, that's a lot of time. I persevered, and it was only on like the last day that I understood everything. And I was teaching the person who trained me, I was teaching them stuff. They're like, oh, I didn't know this iMovie could do this. So, you know, that to me was a huge success. It's like, but some people, they might have picked that up in a couple of lessons, or one even. Whereas me, it took me like 6 months of one-to-one tuition to learn that thing. So you've got to understand that people learn at different rates, and in order to help your mental health, it's really important that you progress in your life, because when you progress and you don't stagnate, you feel like that you are doing stuff, you feel like you're making you're making progress, you're having purpose in your life, you're having meaning in your life, you're feeling fulfilled. A lot of the time, people who have got depression, for example, they feel their life is hopeless, meaningless, that there's nothing in it for them, they shouldn't bother being here, there's no point. But once you give your life purpose and meaning, then your life changes. And some of the time it's just helping other people. When you help other people, you help yourself, because when you help other people, you're giving to people, and you are getting kind of like a glory of being useful to others. So when you're useful to others, you actually feel better about yourself. So, volunteer work, that's why volunteer work can be very beneficial for the place or person you're volunteering to do the work for, but also for you personally. It can be very, very satisfying. It can be very, very good. Going out and helping someone else gives you personal satisfaction, a sense of achievement and responsibility. And particularly if they are things that drive you. Like I did a test years ago to find out what motivates me in life, in a job, and it was a sense of responsibility and achievement, and then money. So responsibility was always first, then the achievement, and then the money. So that's why obviously I love helping asexuals. I've been on this channel for over 6 years now, and it took me nearly 6 years to get over 1,000 subs. That's a long time, even though I've got over 200,000 views, way over 200,000 views now. But you know what I mean? I persevered with that, but it's because I like having the responsibility of helping asexuals. I like having a sense of achievement when someone comes on my channel and says, wow, I thought I was broken, but I saw your channel and now I know I'm not. Or wow, I got a copy of your Asexual Perspectives book and now I know I'm okay, because before I didn't think I was. Or someone who's, some people have come out by seeing videos on my channel. A guy who was teenager, I think it was, he came out to his mum as asexual, and she took it well, and I get people coming on my in chat with me in message and ask me like various questions on how to do certain things, and I do coaching obviously as a paid service, but I help a little amount, as much as I can. I mean, obviously I'm helping asexuals constantly on this channel as well. But, like I did actually get someone come on my website a long time ago asking me how to come out, and to I can't remember if it's a partner or family member, but I did that, and yeah, that worked really well. I think I've done it more than once for different people as well, but yeah, so that worked really well for them. And then I hear them come back to me and say, oh, it worked, and I'm out now, and it makes them feel so good. And so, I get personal satisfaction out of seeing someone else have happiness and success at something in their life. I think when you're a cheerleader, not just of yourself but other people as well, I think it works very beneficial mentally health wise, because helping other people gives you, like I said, purpose, it gives you meaning, it gives you fulfillment, and so it's really like, if you are stuck in a rut and you can get out and about, do some voluntary work, because helping others is just good. You got this sense of community spirit, usually a sense of people being really grateful that you're there helping them. Like I said, I was a voluntary hospital radio presenter for absolute years. I started helping out another person on their show, and then I got told that I was too young to be doing that, to be helping them. And so then when I went to college, I went to do the hospital radio near the college instead, who welcomed me. But at the time I said, oh, you're too young to help on this show anymore, so, which was in my city. So I was doing hospital radio in my city of Exeter, and I went to study in Torquay, and then I went to Torquay and did hospitality there. But I did a kids show actually, so I used to buy gifts for the kids. It's really good. So for quizzes, I used to do like pop quizzes and stuff like that, or TV questions, and then I went and buy gifts, and then I gave them all to the kids afterwards. After they'd answered questions and stuff, like, and they faced it up. Like, one guy used to be there regularly on dialysis machine, which is very difficult for a kid, and his face used to light up when I used to give him gifts and stuff. From the questions, they were very easy questions to answer. They used to phone in, and the kids show used to be really good. I've also done like an older people show, like people who are like 60s and 70s music, for the older people. So I mean, predominantly like in Exeter, my city, it's for older people, but in Torquay they had like young kids ward that I used to broadcast to. So I've done like variety of music and entertainment for different age groups. So I find that's really beneficial. And also something else that I noticed about mental health through my personal professional development journey is about giving and receiving. So sometimes in life we're very good at giving to other people, but we're not good at receiving. And so I learned that it's good to be a good receiver. Like if someone's like, oh, you shouldn't have bought that, rather than saying you shouldn't have bought that, it's good to say, oh my gosh, thank you so much for buying that for me. I really appreciate it. Because that makes a person giving the gift then feel so much better that you appreciate them. And again, it's all about fostering positive emotions. So with mental health difficulties, like I said, most of them are from negative emotions or situations we've been through that's kind of like molded and shaped us into who we are. And sometimes we've gone off course and we need to correct that. But sometimes we just need to reach out and help other people, and we need to be a good receiver as well, not just a good giver, so that we receive, so years ago I probably wouldn't have taken compliments so well, but nowadays if someone pays me compliments, I'm just like, oh, thank you, that's really nice of you, appreciate that, and I just, you get to value yourself more by doing that, and have more self-love as well, because you recognize that you're worth it. A lot of people that have mental health difficulties, they feel they're not worth something in life. But once you start loving yourself and seeing all the skills and experience and talents that you have that you can help other people with, that's when you come into your own, and you can live a much more happier life. It's sound in the fact that that you're becoming a better person, you're helping more people, you're just giving to others, and and you realize, once you realize that you do have skills and experience to help others with, then go and use that. I always say that you can't take it to the grave, so I share a lot of stuff in these videos that is very, very personal, and a lot of people probably wouldn't share, but for me it's like, I can't, if I take that stuff to the grave with me, what use is it? How is it helping someone? It's not. It's just gonna go to waste and die with me. I'd rather help someone, even if I'm giving personal information out about myself, than I'd rather help someone in their life through the information I share with myself than, just like dying and taking it to the grave with me and not being able to help someone. So, like talking about past sexual experiences that I've had, even though I don't have sex now, is kind of a bit strange sometimes. And sometimes it's not pleasant for me, because it's like I'm going back into that zone with an ex that I'd rather forget. But I think it's important, because I think, some asexuals are sex positive or do want to try sex, or they just want to know what it's like for an asexual who has had that before, or they just want to talk about some sexual stuff without actually being having sex, and so sometimes people, I get a lot of people reach out to me who may talk about some sexual acts, but they don't actually like the sex themselves, and because I've had sex in the past, they feel quite comfortable talking to me about it, because I've had all that past sexual life before, and that's how I really think I can help asexuals a lot as well, because obviously I have the experience of both the sexual and asexual life, if you know what I mean. I think asexuals get more affected in some ways, a lot more apparently affected with their mental health because they're different, because a lot of asexuals feel lonely or broken or left out of society. I think it's very difficult when you are trying to find a relationship to find the right person. I think obviously asexuals are so different in what we like, what we don't like, our needs, wants, and interests. And I think it's very difficult to get a match. I think if you do find an asexual that matches you, in most ways, then that's an amazing, incredible, special gift right there, that should be cherished always, and encouraged and supported, but I think, I've seen asexuals in groups and they just they're so fed up of of the frustration they have with the society sexualizing everything. And if you go on dates, it's all about sex, and if you be friends with someone, usually there's sexual connotations to it, but it's like when I was in the meetup the other day, I told them about asexuality. They were really interested in it in a nice way. They were like, wow, I've never heard of this before, this sounds like so cool type thing to learn about, so I thought that was really nice. I really appreciated that about the group. It was probably the most exciting topic they'd heard of all night. And there was 2 tables, there was 10 of us, but sat around 2 tables. So the people from the top table, who I couldn't really get around because I was on the bottom table, they were coming over, leaning over, saying, oh, your conversation's good, I want to listen to this. So I was explaining asexuality, and I was trying to say that, they were saying, oh, so when did you choose to be this way? And I'm like, I didn't choose to be this way. Asexuality is not choice. And then I went and said, it's not abstaining, it's not a choice. And he's like, oh, well, when did you choose? And I said, I didn't choose. I said, I was always born this way. When I was 6 years old, I had a boyfriend at 6, my first boyfriend at 6 years old, heterosexual boyfriend. And he's wanted to do kissing and sexual stuff. Well, I didn't want to do the sexual stuff, but I wanted to do the kissing. So it's obvious back then that I was asexual. When I had counselling for that at 17, the counsellor's like, oh, that's just doctors and nurses, that's normal. And I was absolutely horrified and in tears when she said that. I'm like, it's an invasion of me, and it's horrible and disgusting, and I don't like it, and I was pressurised into it, and it was horrible, and I was really upset. So from the age of 6 to 17, that's 10 years, I'd never spoke to a counsellor or a therapist about it before. And well, from 6 to 11 years it is, yeah. And then when I spoke to her about it, she was like, oh, no big deal, basically, and couldn't understand why I was so upset. But obviously, looking back, I understand now that I was always asexual, and that's why it's very offensive to me, because I'm not in. I was even as a teenager growing up in school, I just wanted to kiss and cuddle, guys. I didn't want to have the sex. I didn't think about having sex. It didn't enter my head. Even when I was 15 and the guy showed me that condom, and I didn't realise that he was going to try and do anything with me. It never entered my head that he would think about using that on me, or what he meant by that. I just thought it was a nice thing, like an item for him to have. I'm like, oh, okay, that's nice. Like a book, or I don't know, like a pencil, a pen, or anything, bottle of water, oh, that's a nice item to have, thanks for showing it me. You know what I mean? And so and so I think asexuals do struggle because we feel like we're marginalized in society, and there's often something different about us. I think at school, they can tell, the majority of the mainstream people can tell that we're not quite normal in the sense of how society views normal. We're kind of more of an outsider. I'm sure our behaviour is a bit different to those traditional people. Thanks for the thumbs up. Lots of love to you. A bit different to the usual people, and so I think it's very difficult growing up. I think a lot of asexuals have been bullied as well, which is not nice. Bullying's horrible, and anyone doing it should be ashamed of themselves. There's no need for it. absolutely no need, there's no need to tell people what to do in their lives, no need to put pressure on them or snub them or be nasty to them. It's really important that, we just in life, be kind to others, and if we haven't got any kind words to say, then just leave that person's life, just go and go about your own business, if you've got no kind words to say, don't bother saying anything at all. Sometimes you just need to leave a person's life and go from it, and which I've done, so I think it's very important to just know that, there's no need for any people to bully anyone, and bullying's disgusting, whether you've had bullying as a child, where you've had neglection as a child, where you've had people criticizing you and stuff, it's not nice and it's not deserved. And you have to obviously reflect on yourself and see if, when I say not deserved, you have to reflect on it yourself and think if you've done anything to harm someone, because obviously if you've done something to harm someone, if you've been nasty to someone, if you've bullied someone yourself, or been narcissistic to someone, if you put someone down, belittled someone, then obviously, that's not being nice, and then you have to understand the criticism is valid and go and do something about it and change it. There's lots of, I was watching a dating coach actually, and he was on about there's lots of people who, split up and they still talk to their exes, which I don't do, and the dating coach is a traditional dating coach rather than me, it's an asexual dating coach. The traditional dating coach is like, well, why are you doing that? Like, oh, because they spoke to me, they said hi. They're like, but what you try to get out of it is a person saying they're really sorry, they made a mistake and wanted to come back. Are they actually improving their life to correct the mistakes they did before and how they behaved and treated you? If they're not improving at all, if there's no improvement there, then it's just hot air, it's just words. There's no point in carrying on the communication. It's painful, and if someone's not being good to someone, it's better for them to not be in that person's life. I don't do all that stuff. I just need, someone should just need to go. So for your own mental health, you've got to decide as well if your friends, family, loved ones are good for your mental health. If you've got people around you that are no good for your mental health. So, for example, if you are with an abusive partner, so I've been with abusive partners in the past, if you are with an abusive partner, you'll find that you end up probably, I'm really super strong these days, but you'll probably likely end up with less self-esteem, less self-worth. They'll try and say, oh, you'll never get another person like me. Who else will you get? They might start saying about your looks, putting you down, and gradually over time that wears you down. And then it does create mental health problems because you're like, oh my God, I'm such a bad person. I don't look great. No one wants me. And that's what narcissistic people and abusers do. And it can be very, very difficult for mental health. So if you have got a person in your life that you're even living with like that, you need to get out of this situation, relationship as soon as possible and just leave. I did a pattern changing course in 2013, which was Stop Abuse for Everyone, and one of the best courses I've ever done in my life. And it shows you patterns of an abuse. It goes through all the patterns of someone who's abusive, the things they'll say, the things they'll do. And I've been training on it ever since, really. So some people might not realise the subtleties, but I do. The subtleties of saying, oh, well, if you're not with me, it's going to make it really difficult for you to find someone, isn't it? There's a difference. Obviously, with the asexuals being a minority, I think if you find true asexual love with another person and it's healthy, it's very rare that you need to treasure it. And you might say it's difficult for you both to find someone else, but it's a difference in the way you say it. There's a difference between, oh yeah, it's going to be difficult to get someone else, but the way someone says it, like, oh, like, well, it's going to be difficult for you to get anyone else, like that type of thing, you know what I mean? Very personal. And obviously little put downs, belittlement, all that type of thing, little digs, all that type of stuff, like after a while it can really wear you down, especially if a person gets physically violent or aggressive as well, So, you know, some of my mental health difficulties have arisen because of the way that I've been treated, but obviously I've tried to improve my own life so that if I do come across any people abusive, I either don't be with them or I get out of that situation as quickly as possible when I realise they are. You know, you have to do that for your own self-worth and self-love. But, you know, like, make sure that the people around you, like, it could be even be a family member. I mean, I can't go into it, but I've had a friend from another country, or I was helping with for them for like a year, and they were having a lot of problems. I've helped a few people like that, actually, and some family members I've known of people who are abroad. They came through to me through asexuality. You know, their family's been really atrocious with them, and sometimes it's the people closest to you that you love the most that hurt you the most, that cause you the most pain, that insult you the most, that have the least amount of respect for you. And the reason they can get away with it usually is purely this fact of love, you know, whether it's loving someone as a relative or family member, or loving someone in a relationship. Love without trust is not a healthy relationship. Love without feeling safe is not a healthy relationship. Love, but with someone putting you down all the time, it's not a healthy relationship, you know? And just because someone's a blood relative doesn't mean to say they're good for you. So you need to limit your time or break free of these type of people that are in your life. If you've got people that are constantly putting you down, that are constantly belittling you, it might be a job you've got, and you might have a boss that's really horrible to you and slamming things on the table and being really nasty to you and saying, oh, if you don't get this work done, you know, you're going to be fired and all this lot. You know, and you have to look for other work. You have to go and get another job. It's same as if you live in a house and it's got people beating other people up in it, which I've been in the past. You know, you need to get out of that type of thing. Now, I've lived in some horrendous places. You know, that's what I mean by ongoing trauma I've had. Lived in some places where, like, guys been beating their girlfriends up. One place I lived, the girl was literally stood on top of the roof screaming. You know, and you don't want to get involved in case you're going to get your head smashed in. You don't really want to go and stand on a roof, you know. It's just horrendous. And so there's a lot of domestic violence goes on, and it does contribute a lot to mental health problems. You know, it's kind of taboo to talk about this stuff, I know, but it needs to be said, you know. And so if you've got someone who's abusive around you, however hard you try, you can keep a positive mindset as much as possible, but eventually, you know, that person's going to chip away. They're going to chip away at you to become a former version of yourself. That's what happened to me years ago. I didn't even recognise who I was anymore. I much prefer living my young teenager lifestyle now than I ever did being in that traditional relationship where you live together, you come home, watch TV, go to bed, that type of, you know, I hate that type of life now. So you know, if I ever do get into a relationship ever again, I like an unconventional one, because I just can't stand a traditional relationship. It bored the hell out of me. I was really miserable. And my ex is just like, you know, they you know, the amount of abuse I went through. But I'm free of that now. Like, I've been free of abuse for 10 years from my last long-term ex, from him. So yeah, November 2011 when when he split from me, which I was glad about. Yeah, 5th of November. So I've been free of that abuse for 10 years now, which is amazing. I've been predominantly single since then as well, because I'd much rather stay single forever than be with the wrong person. So it's so important. So yeah, so don't forget to pay attention to what you're putting, like the people in your, like the things, to help your mental health, you need to pay attention to your environment. This means the people you hang around with, and also your physical environment. The one you live in, does it feel comfortable, safe, happy, healthy for you? You need to pay attention to, like I said, the people in it, the people that you work with, the people that you see in your daily life, family, friends, loved ones, all these type. You know, ask yourself, are they building you up? Are they supporting you? Are they encouraging you in your goals, ambition, and dreams, or are they dragging you down with them and telling you stuff and criticizing you and making you feel bad about yourself? Because no one should be doing that. I mean, you know, they need to take a look in the mirror if they're doing that, because they're being seriously horrible. You know, there's no need for it in life. Anyone who's telling someone else what to do and how to live their life like that is not good. you know. And so obviously, you know, like food you eat, you need to be making sure you're having foods that fill your body up, that make you feel good. And equally, water is really important. Keep hydrated. You know, exercise, if you can do some exercise, is good. Obviously, I have fibromyalgia, so exercise a lot of the time makes that worse. It's more painful. But I love dancing the other day, so that's really good. And you know, and then the mindset, you know, and actually growing and developing, you know, take courses, learn new things, learn people skills, listening skills, communication skills, learn how to develop your self-awareness, you know, like how you react in certain situations, know your own weaknesses, know your own strengths, know what makes you happy, what doesn't, know what to work on in your life, know how to improve yourself, learn all this stuff. Spirituality, learn about what's in your soul, what's in your heart, in your mind, and, you know, live your life your way, you know, follow your path in life. It's no good following someone else's, because if you do, you'll go on your deathbed and you'll be like, I've got so many regrets because I just lived a life that other people wanted me to live, you know. And I personally will not do that for anyone. I will not live someone else's life. So you need to live your own life and, you know, be really happy and feel fulfilled in your own ways, and, you know, find out what success means to you and go and grab it, you know. And remember to counteract as much negativity in your life with as much positivity as possible, you know, joy and happiness and satisfaction, fulfillment and purpose. If you don't know what your life purpose is, if you've no clue, then you have to make your full-time job getting your life purpose. So make your life purpose finding your life purpose. One of the best pieces of advice I can give you. So if you're like, I don't know my life purpose, I don't know what I want to do, that's perfect. Go and explore then. Do different courses. There's loads of free online courses or cheap courses online. You know, loads of YouTube videos you can watch to learn new skills. You know, go and do that. You know, go and do some voluntary work, test some jobs out, do some traveling if you can and want to, you know. Go and find out what actually gives you fulfillment and purpose and makes you really happy, and, you know, go do that, right? And use it as an experience to find your purpose. You know, you might take years to find it, but I mean, my life purpose is writing first and foremost, and then helping asexuals. I think I've got a bit more to my life purposes than that, but I think that's the majority. You know, writing books that change lives and helping asexuals. Basically, my mission is to help asexuality get recognised as official sexual orientation throughout the globe, so no asexual has to live in fear of ridicule ever again, and we can all live in harmony among sexuals, and people just accept us for who we are. That's what I really want to happen for us, you know. And I think, you know, anyone who's asexual, who can't accept other people the way they were and are, you know, you need to be understanding that, you know, if you're in a minority, you know, you need to be supporting other people in minorities and helping them as well, you know. Like, sometimes within the asexual community, there's a lot of people trying to tell people how to live their lives, and at the end of the day, it's like you're in a minority and yet you're marginalizing people within the minority, which is not good. So, you know, but everyone's got different personalities, different personality types. You might find, you know, with some asexual groups you're in, that you click with people and others you don't, you know. It's just the way it is. Everyone's different, you know. But please, you know, if you do need help with your mental health, go phone crisis line, get some support, get your doctor involved, you know, get some therapy and get yourself sorted so that you can live a much happier life. But always help yourself. You know, if you've got a problem, you're gonna have to, like, ask yourself what solution. So sometimes when we've got a problem in life, we focus on the problem over and over again, but when we do that, we just keep getting more of the same problem come up, because it's like going around in a loop, in a circle. It's like problem, what's that problem? I can't get, your mind gets fixated on it. So instead, you need to ask yourself, how can I solve this problem? How can I get out of this situation? How can I make myself feel better? What would it take? What would happiness look like? What would peace look like? What would joy look like? What would fun look like? What would good look like? So I've been doing a bit more of that lately, even in my own life. Like, you know, like, okay, so if I was having a much more happier life, like, how would that look? How would that feel? What would I do? You know, and then I'm trying to go do more of those things, like socialise more, go out dancing more. You know, like, as an extrovert, I think I should be going out a lot more and mixing with a lot more people. so that, you know, because I need that energy from people, you know, like I get energized being around people, even if I'm not talking to them. Whereas a lot of introverts, they get the opposite. They need to retract and be indoors and spend time on their own more, you know. So whatever suits you, you know, with your mental health. If you're an introverted, you might need to spend like a couple of hours with some people, or if you do spend a whole day, like you'll probably then need a day of rest and reflection and retraction and, you know, like self, you know, time to yourself. Where, you know, so you still usually need some connection to feel good that you people are there for you, and that you know that, you know, you have someone there in your life for you, you know, some support. If you're an extrovert, you know, going out and socializing really kind of lifts your spirits up. And, you know, like I just like, sometimes I just go like going for a walk on the quayside. I'm not really so into walking, but I like being there because it's relaxing and peaceful, and also there's people around, even if I'm not speaking to anyone. Although some people, they like sit on a bench next to me and start talking to me. I had this one woman that was on her lunch break, and then I had a guy with his dog talking to me and stuff like that. So that can be quite interesting and have some interesting conversations, you know. So anyway, I hope this video you found useful, helpful, insightful. I hope I've given you some additional information on how to help your mental health. You know, if you have got people who are dragging you down negative in your life, you're going to have to limit your time or get rid of them completely to have a better life and a happier life. And unfortunately, it might be some loved ones or loved one, you know. And so, you know, you have to do what you have to do. But equally, you know, like some people have their kind of their mum as their best friend, or a sister as their best friend and stuff like that, you know. So I know people like that as well. So whatever your personal circumstances are, if your family relationship, you know, just have a listen to this video back and think about what might help you in your life. And, you know, even if you just make small incremental differences, first of all, you know, every little helps. And I write a lot of positive affirmations. That's what I forgot to say as well. Positive affirmations are things you write in present tense if they are. So you say, like, I'm feeling great today, I'm feeling joyous, I'm feeling happy. But you kind of have to put some emotion in that. So put your hand on your heart and say it, but also try and do stuff that actually makes you feel that way. Because once your mind is and your being is congruent with what you're actually saying, then you're going to feel much better. Like, I like self-dating and going to the cinema. It makes me feel good. So if I wake up saying I feel good today, then I go to, you know, I feel good today, look in the mirror, hand on heart, I feel good today, then I go for a self-date to the cinema and I do that thing, then it's fulfilling the prophecy that I'm saying I'm feeling good, even if I'm not necessarily feeling good at that moment. It's fulfilling that, and it's making it come true. So then you can make yourself believe that. It's kind of like brainwashing yourself to feel more positive emotions and better. So, but always wake up with a gratitude list, write down things you're grateful for, wake up to a happy list, make sure you incorporate 3 of 10 things out of your happy list every day that give you joy and pleasure. It could be just a little something. I mean, I like going in the shower. That just makes me feel so good. I like eating nice foods that make me feel good. I had like a fish with a Chinese stir fry for a late lunch. The Chinese stir fry was absolutely exquisite. You know, it's something different from what I eat to normal, and it just felt delicious. Tasted delicious, and felt delicious. Made my body feel good, you know. So yeah, go and do that. Anyway, lots of love to you. Thank you for all the support. Thank you for Brooke and Rich for being here. Really appreciated you today, and I love you lots, and I wish you lots of joy and happiness in your life. If you're going through mental health difficulties now, like I said, do get some help, and there is no shame in getting help. And most people in the world go through some mental health difficulties at some time in their life, so you're not alone. Anyway, don't forget to subscribe to this channel, hit the bell icon, and give this video a thumbs up. And I'll see you on the next video or live stream. Take care. Lots of love. Bye-bye. Bye. Nice to see you.